Okay, we're up to Perek Daled, page 14. Opposite of page 14, page Ches. Nefesh Eloikis, we know what its components are. It's the 10 koiches, 10 spheres, Chachma bin Das, which is divided Sechel Amidas. Now, he's going to go in to another 3 things that the Nefesh Eloikis has, which are garments. And a garment is a dress where you could put on and you could take off. And when you put it on, you have it, and when you take it off, you don't have it. It's a way of expressing yourself. Machshava, dibur, and ma'aseh. Yeah, machshava is thought, speech, and action. How do you express yourself? What you have inside of you. You can think about it. That you're expressing it to yourself. You can speak about it. Then you're expressing it outwards. And when you're doing, you're actually doing your ma'aseh. Machshava, dibur, and ma'aseh is very different, though. It's not who the person is. It's not sechel amidas. It's not who the person is. There was a group home of adult males. They're not so well in their mind, and there was a person, obviously one person, he's in charge. He's the normal one, right? He's in charge of them, takes them to trips and whatever, makes them happy. Yeah, he's not okay. They're all not okay. So one day they say they're going swimming. They're going to go in an indoor pool, and they're all going to go swimming. They're all so excited. They got their bathing suits, and it's all good. And they even got changed before they even went, left the adult mental home. And he takes them on the bus, gets there finally. As they get there to the pool, there's a problem. There's no water in the pool. There was a technical problem, and then the manager was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't realize, whatever, it was a big leak, whatever the case is." So he's like, "Oh, okay." So, but all these people, he turns around just to like talk and this, and all of a sudden he sees everyone is in the pool, and they're pretending like they're swimming. They're in the bathing suits, so never, they're not okay. Yeah, they're pretending like they're swimming. They're swimming. But then he sees one person standing outside, and he's just watching everyone. So he's like, "Wow, this guy, he's the normal guy. I didn't know I have a normal person in this group." He says, how come you're not swimming with him?" He goes, "No, I'm the lifeguard." What's the point of the joke? The point of the joke is that a machshava is not who the person inside is. You understand? The action, machshava dibur ma'aseh, is an exterior thing. It's not who the person, the internal person is. Sechel amidos is who the person is the essence of the person inside of him. You can't change it. You cannot change. He can come next to me now and he can do the same emotions as I do and talk the same way I talk. What percentage does he have of me? 0. He has nothing. 0. Because I can't describe him the emotions I have. He cannot describe me the emotions he has. His feelings and emotions. So that cannot be changed. But machshava dibur ma'aseh is the expression that you could have. So that's why it's called a lavush. And it's called tools. V'oid yesh lechol nefesh eloikis. More has every nefesh eloikis has shloish levushim. 3 garments, shehei machshava dibur ma'aseh, which is thought, speech, and action, shel taryag mitzvahs haTorah, of the 613 mitzvahs of the Torah, shekshe'odam mekayim b'ma'aseh. Kol mitzvahs ma'aseh is when a person actually does, physically, has to physically do the mitzvahs. Ubedibur, u'oisik, b'pirush kol taryag mitzvahs v'ilchusayin, and by speaking, he speaks all taryag mitzvahs, meaning he speaks Torah, right? He learns Torah. And when his thoughts, and when we're thinking, he says he understands the Torah, and everything. Pardes really translates to orchard. Yeah. Well, what's Pardes? Pshat, Remez, Drush, Sod. It's the 4 type of Torah that you can levels. It's levels that you can learn in Torah. Yes, Pashat Pshat, the Muslim, okay. So when a person Pshat Remes Drush Sod Torah, Hare Klalus Tarya Gevre Nafshoi, so the general 613 limbs of his nefesh melubashim Taryag Mitzvah Torah, every single neshama also has. The general idea is to have 10 spheres, 10 faculties, but it also has 613 spiritual limbs. We all have 613 limbs and gidim. We have 365 what's called sinus, gidim. How do you say gidim? Veins, blood vessels, veins, sinews, and 248 limbs. So it's against, compared to 248 mitzvahs asa, 365 mitzvahs negative commandments, but mitzvahs leis asa. Ubepratis, and specifically bechinas chabad shebenafshay, the chochma bina das of his mind. Melubashes ba'asagas haTorah, when he learns, understands Torah, his mind is enclosed in the Torah. Shehu masig bepardis. Kfi yecholes asagasa v'shadish nafshe lemayla. Every single neshama has a different source where it's coming from, main source where it's affected from. So some neshama have it more bepshat. Some neshama, you can see a person, he's very good in halacha. He's so good in halacha because his neshama. So every single neshama, the way as most as he can understand and learn, that's when he has his chachma, his mind is enclosed in the Torah completely. You know, you heard of the Al-Sheikh HaKadosh, the Al-Sheikh? He was in the times of the Arizal, and the Al-Sheikh, the Moshe Al-Sheikh, it was his name, yeah. And he was a big Rav, was a tzaddik. In times of Arizal, they asked Arizal, please, to teach him Kabbalah. Arizal was a big Baal Mekubal. The Sod is the secrets of the Torah. From the Pardes, it's the Sod, yeah? So the Arizal, of course, yeah, sits down with him, and then teaches him his private tutor, and then the Al-Sheikh falls asleep. And he's falling asleep. He feels bad for it. He keeps waking up and keeps falling asleep. So the Arizal told him, don't feel bad. The reason you're falling asleep is because your neshama is rooted in the drush part. You're not in the side part. In the drush, from the pardes, pshat, remes, drush, sod, his neshama is sourced in the drush. That's why he keeps falling asleep. The Rebbe said this story in a Fabrengen once. He said this exact story, and he said people were falling asleep over there by his Fabrengen. I mean, humans are still humans, you know, late at night, and there was long Fabrengens. And the Rebbe said, first I thought that the neshamas are rooted in different, like the same story with the Al-Sheikh. But he said, but I spoke about Pshat and people are falling asleep. I spoke about the Remes, people are falling asleep. Yeah, I spoke about Drush, I speak about Sod, people, so it has to be, it's not because of that. So what do we have over here? We're using our Chabad, our Chochma Bina Das, to understand the Torah. When you learn something, you have to understand it. Except if you're learning Tanakh, the 24 books of the Torah, then you can just read it, and even if you don't understand, it counts for you as Talmud Torah. You can open up a Chumash and you can read from the Chumash, but I don't understand, it counts for you as Talmud Torah. Right now, what we're learning is that we're using our Machshava, Dibur, Maisa, which are garments, which are tools to connect to Hashem. Yeah? Now, it's very different. You know, Shlomo HaMelech describes our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in husband and wife. The whole Shira Shirim, right, is all about husband and wife, that we're like the wife, Kaviyachol, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Think about this for a second. Husband and wife, what matters? Does the action matter for a husband and wife, or does the feeling matter? I mean, which meaning like this. Let me define this better. Someone loves his wife, it should be, and he buys her jewelry, whatever. He says nice words for her, right? Good words for her. Would she rather get the jewelry and the flowers and the nice words, knowing that he doesn't really love her? He doesn't hate her, he doesn't love her, he has no emotions at all. There's no feelings. Or would she rather him not get her anything, but she knows that he really loves her in the heart, and there's feelings, and he thinks about her sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
That, right? It's no brainer, right? So comes out that the main emotion and the main love between a relationship of humans is the inside, right? The inner feeling, the thoughts, But how do they express it? How does a husband express it? It's only an expression of love, is with the action. So when he buys her a gift or whatever, when he says that's an express dibur, right? Maisa. It's an expression of what he really feels, but it's not the main thing. It's not the main thing, right? Think about this for a second. When it comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, humans can relate to another human being. If someone says, how can I connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? What a joke, because all it takes you to be just a second to think about the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you'll see that you can't even compare creator to creation, a created being to the creator of the world. So imagine you have some ants in your yard, and in the summertime you come out and one of the ants has a mind to think, how can I connect to the owner of this house? I'm always in his yard. How can I? Right? It was a joke. It's a joke, right? Because if you think about HaKadosh Baruch Hu a little bit, and you realize, wait a second, who am I even? Like a human being with a big expiration date, right? So when it comes to the relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's very different than with humans. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did for us a big chesed, the chosen, Am Yisrael. And what does that mean? He gave the Torah. That means that he contracted himself into his mitzvahs, into the Torah and into the mitzvahs. So you may ask, there's a riddle over here. So you're telling me if I learn his Torah, that's how I connect it. That comes out, if he is infinite and I'm finite, how can I understand his infinite wisdom? Again, you can't, but you could. You understand Torah. Torah, kuchabaricha v'raisa kul echad, says the Zohar. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu is what? Yeah, you said right. The Torah is endless, right? You always have chidushim, and that's why you have. But that's the chesed that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did. He contracted himself so small. Because b'makom she'atu moitze gedulasa shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chazal says, b'makom wherever you find his greatness, sham atu moitze and dusunosai. Over there you find his humbleness. So he had to contract himself into literally sefer and into literally action. Action. So when you come and you put on tefillin, black boxes with parchment inside, what comes out from that? You're connecting to Hashem. So comes somebody who doesn't have an emotional attachment, an emotional feeling to Hashem. Does he still build a connection when he does this? Yes. Again, let's go back to the relationship between husband and wife, between humans. Imagine that someone likes a girl. He wants to marry her. She doesn't like him. He likes her. So he writes her notes, leaves it on her windshield, leaves her nice gifts, wherever she is. Oh, wow, surprises. What does it do anything for her? Nothing. None of these actions connect them. What's the connection in humans? It has to be an emotional attachment. It has to be. The actions afterwards is an expression on how to show his love. By us, in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how do we connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? It's machshava dibur u'maisa. Of what? Of Tariag mitzvahs. The action is the connection. The emotional part afterwards is completed. It completes it, which we're going to get into it towards the end of the chapter. But what's very important to understand, that the inside of the person may never change, but the actions matter. Actions matter when it comes to that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you want to connect to me, and that makes a lot of sense. Why? When we start thinking about, people say, so imagine going back to our relationship, the husband and wife, they're very in love, and she loves it, and she loves him, and he loves her, and she makes him a good dinner one day, very nice, beautiful dinner, filet mignon, everything is a couple of good soup before. Wow, this is delicious. like, yeah, I love you, and it's my expression of me to the wow, he appreciates. She makes some French fries with the steak. He tastes the French fries, he realized she didn't put salt in it. Or whatever, right? Forgot something, whatever. That's it? The whole thing is done? The whole food doesn't matter, the whole relationship doesn't matter? No, what kind of husband would that be, right? What kind of husband would that be? He would say, "Okay, yeah, big deal. So it's missing a little salt. I know where her heart is. She knows where my heart is. So a little mistake here, normal relationships. It's okay, you forgive, you this, you that. You look away. Comes the Torah, relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he says like this: you connect with me through you doing where I put myself in, which is the Torah and the mitzvahs. So you put on it. You bought yourself a beautiful mezuzah. You paid $500. The Yehuda big mezuzahs, right? Put it on your door. You checked it's kosher. Next year you check again. Guy tells you, what? He found a missing vav. Kosher or posel? Posel. The whole thing is posel. One little vav. A little bit salt is missing. Does that make sense? I paid so much money, and with love, I went and bought the whole mezuzah. I'm putting on my Shabbos candles before Shabbos. I get the Shabbos in 10 minutes earlier. Wow. Such a big mitzvah. It takes in Shabbos early. Sometimes the person goes and puts it in, a half hour later. Whatever, it's okay. I have guests coming. I'll turn it on now. But Shabbos already, yeah? The guy's already chayav misa, according to the Torah, right? I'm talking about the problem. I'm saying, look at the difference. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? I'm keeping Shabbos, so I turn it on. You know why? Because that's how you can. It is a big deal. Because in the human's relationship between husband and wife, it's the emotions that matters. The action is just an expression. It's an expression of how you feel inside. So it doesn't matter so much if it's missing this and it's missing that and it's not so perfect. But if the connection is the outside, the machshava dibur ma'aseh, it's not the expression, it's the connection itself. The action is the connection, then it has to be perfect. Otherwise you don't connect with me. You get it? And that is very fundamental. And that's why, to answer one of the question that we began, somebody asked me, what do I need to know? You don't need to know, but this is a way of us understanding when we do a mitzvah, we connect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's very important because you understand what people, the Chabad and the Rebbe said, go out there, put tefillin on people, put a mezuzah on people, make sure they light menorah, make sure they have matzahs, you eat matzahs. If somebody goes Pesach and he goes to eat matzah, and he eats matzah because he's hungry. He eats matzah and he's hungry. He's a good seder, whatever. Is he yotzet with the mitzvah's matzah? Yeah, exactly. He did an action. He connected with Hashem. So in Chabad it's very busy. Like it doesn't matter, because people were criticizing when it first came out with Miftzayim, put on tefillin on the Yid, but he just came out from McDonald's and who knows where he's going next. Stop. It doesn't. It matters, but you're building him. With you. Yeah, you're building him in a connection. Yeah.
But it's still good. Put on the tefillin.
Machshava dibur ma'aseh of Taryag mitzvahs. But that is. This is the levush. This is the exterior. Levush is exterior. He says he's an empty suit. He's an empty. What's an empty suit? He has no emotions inside. But metoch shala lishma ba lishma only proves this. What the Tanya is saying, that metoch shala lishma, that means because it has no emotional feelings, nothing. You just do it mechanical, but it still matters. Why does it matter? Because metoch shala lishma ba lishma, because it's going to matter soon, because you're building a connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Verses, have you heard this Yidden saying, Ani Yehudi balev, Ani ma'amin, Yehudi balev. You heard this? I'm a Jew in the heart. You can keep that heart until tomorrow. And he might feel a connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But if he doesn't do his mitzvahs, his wisdom, his will, he does not have a connection. Now, versus humans, Emotional connection is the strongest thing. I have the feelings in my heart. Oh my gosh, so in love. Yeah, the butterflies in my stomach. Everything is fine. That's the best love you can have. Comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's infinite versus finite. He put himself, his greatness, in his mitzvah because he wants you to connect with him. He wants us to connect with him. That's the best he could have, that we could have. So, Yehudi Balev doesn't matter. Sounds nice. Machshava dibur maisa matters. Taryag mitzvahs.
אבל אם הוא חושב עליו כל הזמן,
בסדר. אבל זה לא connection. It's not a connection.
אין קונקשן.
No.
למה לא?
Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu told us how to connect to him.
גם עכשיו
Because again,
עכשיו דיבור.
machshava. Wait. Hold on. Machshava that he's talking about is machshava of Torah. So when you're saying machshava, he's thinking about Torah, he's thinking about Torah. Maybe if someone just thinks about HaKadosh Baruch Hu all day, then I agree with that. I'm sorry, I agree with that.
Yeah,
He's thinking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he's connecting with machshava. But what about the dibur and ma'isa?
It's something else.
That has to, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, but he has a machshava connection. Fine. Yes, machshava connection. Fine, but the maaseh, sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All this that you guys are saying are true. They're all saying it depends on what aspect. It depends on what aspect. Like davening, you need the machshava, right? You also need the dibur, exactly. But then again, like I said, the matzah. If somebody doesn't have any machshava eating the matzah, he still has a big mitzvah. He ate mitzvah in my matzah. Yeah. So
nothing matzah.
Not doing it though for the right
he eats matzah. Oh, exactly. Somebody says it's like, I really love Hashem. I think about Hashem all day. So they tell him, okay, it's Pesach today. You want to eat matzah? Nah, I'm not in the matzah. I can eat matzah. It makes go out in the bathroom. No good. I'm sorry, but he's lacking a big mitzvah over here. Big connection. Okay, but it's not nothing. It's not nothing. It's not. Is it proper? No. Should you have? Of course, you should have the proper thoughts when you put on the tefillin. But chas v'shalom. The point I'm trying to say is, we're not trying to say that chas v'shalom nobody should do any mitzvahs unless he has the good thoughts. No, that's not what we're trying to say. The opposite. We're trying to say that the connection is there even if you don't have the thought. And in machshava, in kavanos mitzvah, there is a lot of types of kavanos. There's a general kavana. That means there's a general kavana saying, I want to do Hashem's will. I'm putting in the film because He commanded us. I know that the pasuk. That I'm putting on tefillin, but then the whole time his mind is on a baseball game or whatever. I don't know. His mind is somewhere else. Yeah. He still has a general kavanah. Still has a general kavanah. You get it? Kavanas have limitless. There's a lot of kavanas. Like there's depth into depth into depth. You know, there's a whole maimer of mitzvah tefillin from the Tzemach Tzedek. So how do we complete it? What Eliezer brought up actually is very good, very true. So we are talking about the exterior things of a person. Machshava, dibur, ma'isa, which is machshava means you're using your chachma bin das into thinking, yes, but you're expressing it to yourself. Dibur, you're expressing it to someone else, and ma'isa is obviously action and invisible. But the inside of you, the sechel midos. Remember the sechel midos that in Perek Gimel that we learned from the sechel midos divided into two. Chachma bin das and chesed gvura tiferes netzach malchus. When you have the love, when you use your chachma bina and das to connect to the chesed, which is love, and gvura, which is yida, when you use your mind to develop ahavas Hashem, a love of Hashem, and yiras Hashem, and we're going to see what type of yida. Also, there's two types of yidas. And with that, you're like, okay, now I understand who Hashem is. And now I understand how privileged I am. And now I developed a love and a fear. And now I'm going to do His mitzvah. Now you're complete. Because now you don't only have machshava dibur ma'isa, you're also using your sechel and midos. Your midos is your emotions. So now you're complete, invested in the mitzvah of Hashem. And the connection is very strong. But that's the difference between. So that's it. So how do I connect? How does the little ant in my yard wants to be such a good ant and never wants to dig any holes in my house, and he wants to because he wants a connection with me. Yeah, shaykhs. And I am in the same aspect, kind of, because I'm a human being. I'm a creation, and he is a creation. But think about so infinite, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the creator versus creation, created beings. How do you connect that? There's no other connection other than the one that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, where I put myself in. And I put myself in my Torah and mitzvahs. I said that. He says, I said that. Not me, I said it. Okay, at the dot. Now, when you're talking about the midos, the emotions, which are Yiras Hashem, Ahavas Hashem, Vanfeyen, and its offshoots, with all the saying, and the ones that are being basically developed from that, Melubashis B'kiyum mitzvahs, are enclosed when you do the mitzvahs b'maasa u'b'dibur, with action and speech. Shehu Talmud Torah shekeneged kulon. When you learn Torah, as we know, is the biggest mitzvah. Ki ahava she shoyresh kol ramach mitzvah, because love will lead you to do all 240 exactly. This is the complete way to do the 248 mitzvahs. Umimeno hanimshachos, and from there it comes from what? From the love it comes. Ubil ada, and without the love to do the 248, ein lohen kiyum amiti. It doesn't have a real.
They continue.
They're being drawn from the love.
Okay, so it's being drawn.
Being drawn from the love. That this is why you're doing it, because you realize. You're drawn. Your ma'aseh of mitzvah comes from the love. Without the love, ein lohen kiyum amiti. It doesn't have a true kiyum. Meaning, yes, you're doing it, but you're not doing it complete. Because someone who really is Mekayim, how do you say a good word for Mekayim in English? Fulfilled, thank you, because when fulfilled truthfully, that's the one who really loves Hashem and wants to cleave to Him, really. But you can't, because He's infinite. Unless you are fulfilling His 248 commandments. Allegorically speaking, he says, like, why is it the 248? And it's like a Kodesh Baruch who has his own, allegorically speaking. Like it says in another place. That's what the love brings you. And the fear, he shoydish. This is the source. To 365 mitzvahs, the negative commands not to do. Because he's simply afraid of it. He knows, he recognizes who Hashem is. In his heart, he realizes it. So, he has the privilege to cleave to Hashem with love, with doing them. So he'll be fulfilled with so much love. He's like, okay, I'm going to open up a Tehillim and say, let's say, one chapter, right? But he does it from love after recognizing what Hashem is. That's a complete mitzvah that he does. You're right, with Talmud Torah. It's unbelievable. He does this with machshava and dibur. And dibur is also considered masa, because akim asafasayim have a ma'aser. The Chazal say when you moving your lips, you're actually making a ma'aser. Now, or yira pnimis mizu, or even a deeper sense of fear, not fear of. What's the fear over here? It's not just the fear of the punishment. It's the fear, again, going back to,
Embarrassed.
you're embarrassed, and you're also in a relationship. What are you afraid? It's the severance. It's the end. It's the end of the relationship that matters. It's not like, oh, what is she or he going to say? It's going to be over. And the Navi says, what is dividing? What divides between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu? It's the avoidness. That's why. So obviously, there's tshuva. Of course, the whole world was created for tshuva. That's tshuva. Tshuva is to shuv, to go back, to come back. It's a whole relationship. Shlomo HaMelech was the smartest man in the world. He didn't just make Shira Shirim like it's a nice, beautiful poem and a nice, beautiful. No, this is real. This is real, the husband and wife. So he says that what happened. So what? So what did he say? Panemius Mizu Shemizbosh is embarrassed. It's a game it's a toy of the kids, whatever. He's embarrassed. Imagine we're all sitting here. There's just a big TV watching the game now. Everybody's with beer and whatever, laughing out loud. Ha ha ha! Look, right? And all of a sudden, it's a big tzaddik comes in. It's a big god. I don't know. What do you think about? We will all be embarrassed. We want to crawl into a little hole and hide because it's like embarrassed. It's the same thing. It says like when you realize that, then you know the Yochanan ben Zakkai. Yeah? Yochanan ben Zakkai. The Gemara says before he was nistalik, and he was literally on his deathbed, and his talmidim said to him, Rabbi, teach us something, please, something. Before he's going to the Olam Emes. They're waiting to hear secrets of the secrets. And he says, Yehi Ratzain, Shehir, Melech Shemayim. What? Shehir Alechem Melech Shemayim, Shehir Melech Shemayim Alechem Kemoida Basav Adam. Exactly. He says, Yehi Ratzain, it should be Hashem's will that you should fear heaven, you should fear Hashem as you fear a human being. So they say, Rebbe, that's it. Come on, give us some real insights over here. Yeah, because what does the person say? A person never does an aveda when he's next to someone. No one is going to do something he's next to in the open. He says why? Because of a human being, right? But if you instill this das, this is the emotional connection. If you use your chachma and bina, as we learn in Perek Gimel, and you use that to contemplate and think about the greatness of it, and it takes time. He said asmada. Asmada means you have to go over it over and over, because if not, he said dimyonis shav. If not, we're gonna develop fake imaginary love, imaginary fear. But he has to do it again and again, and with that, you use the das, the connection. That's when you develop a real, true love to Hashem and a real, true Yiras Hashem. And again, the Yiras Hashem is more of a higher, I don't want to say higher, but deeper type of fear of like an embarrassment type of fear. Like, how can I even do this? How can I do something that's completely against His will? Or that he is simply embarrassed from his greatness, to rebel the eyes of the Holy One, the respectful one, and to do evil in his eyes. Kol toyav Hashem, all the bad things, asher sanei, which he hates. Aim haklipos v'sitracha. Those are the klipos, the shells that cover the cover godliness. On the other side, asher yenikasam. Where did they get their life from? Where did they get the klipos, the shells? The other side, the unholy side, gets always from a person that does every aveda that a person does, gives it. That's what in Kabbalah says, gives it more life to the other side, to the unholy side. We give life to it, and that's where they grab. Who b'shesar mitzvahs says in the 365 mitzvahs says.